Hi, this is Bruce Malwitz with Greenwise Energy Solutions. Thanks for joining us on our YouTube channel. Today we're going to talk very quickly about the orange motor, some of the features and benefits of the orange motor, and how to actually install the orange motor into a typical evaporator coil that you'd see in a walk-in cooler or freezer application. So first thing we'll do is we'll open the orange motor box up, and I'll describe to you a couple of the features and benefits that make the orange motor very easy to install. The first is the motor itself is fully universal, meaning that it can operate on 115 volt or 208, 230 volt. And it does it intuitively, so there's no switch, there's no programming necessary. You simply just plug the motor in and it will figure out what voltage is being sourced. The motor will respond accordingly and act correct. The other feature that we have on the orange motor is a rotation switch that will change the motor from counterclockwise to clockwise, and literally you can change the rotation of the motor by a simple flick of a switch. Since we're talking about this, let's talk about CCWLE and CWLE. What this means is it's counterclockwise lead end, which means which end is the power getting supplied to the motor. So as this is labeled, you would have to look at the fan blade from the back of the motor. If you want to know what the rotation is by looking at the fan blade, you have to use the exact opposite of the switch. So in this particular switch position, it's in the CCWLE, but as you mount the motor like this, it will actually rotate clockwise. It's exactly the opposite of the lead end set point. So, that being said, that's a couple of the features about the orange motor. I'm just going to very quickly take a couple of seconds and show you some tips and hints on how to install the motor correctly. The first is, I always bring the motor in shaft first, loop it around, and when we get to this position, I'm going to show you something. There's a sticker on the side of the motor that says mount drain hole down. It's imperative that that drip hole is mounted down, and it's in perfect line with the power cord. So you don't have to be looking at the sticker. You just can simply pull the motor up, put the shaft through the opening, slide your motor into the mounting bracket, and once you get it in place, and it's just a matter of grabbing the mounting screws. We prefer using nylon lock nuts. They're readily available at any hardware store, and if you use the lock nuts, nylon lock nuts, they'll be in place for a long, long time. You won't have to worry about vibration loosening the nuts. There's 4 mounting studs. Make sure you get your lock nuts on all 4 mounting studs, and then we'll go ahead and plug the motor in. The orange motor comes with a industry standard Lisle plug, which is just a 2-prong plug. You do not have to worry about polarity on the Lisle plug. You can see this is industry standard plug. There is a white labeled wire. That would be your neutral or line 2. Solid black is line 1. So as we get these tightened up, we're going to go ahead and show you the proper technique to install the plug. I make sure that I get extra wire on the back side of the motor. Now we're going to take our Lisle plug, go right into the existing plug from the motor cord itself, power supply cord itself. Then what we would do is zip tie the wires, something in this fashion, so that they're out of the way. They're not going to get into the fan blade. And then the next step is we're going to take the fan blade, and I want to point out that the shaft on the motor has a flat side to it. This flat side is meant for this set screw to rest on. So make sure your set screw lines up with the flat blade of the motor. Push your blade in, and what we need to talk about now is what's the proper distance to push the blade in. If you push it in all the way, it's going to be in too far, it's not going to line up. If you have it on the very edge, it's out too far. What you want is you want the blade to line up exactly halfway in, halfway out, of this opening, which is called the plenum. Once it's in position, you just simply take your Allen wrench, drop it in. Most motors are 1/8 Allen wrench screws. Just give it a couple turns. It'll be tight on the shaft. Once you get to that point, the motor's installed and it's complete.